Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the Blue Zone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to 2023, and welcome to episode 150 of the Permanent Record Podcast. My name is Brian.
And I'm Sarah.
And Sarah, I want to wish you a very happy 150th episode.
Why, thank you. I would like to wish the same to you.
Thank you so much. And this is going to be a really special episode because to celebrate our big 150th, we are being joined by our old friends Von Hertzog and Rob Rowe of the band VHXRR.
Yeah, I was so excited that they agreed to talk to us once again, and how cool that it's for a special episode like this. It makes it extra special, right?
It does indeed. So VHXRR has seriously over the past 3 years gone from strength to strength with a number of fantastic EPs, The Persistence of Memory, Sky Full of Ghosts, and their latest, On the Shoulders of Giants, which is what we are going to talk about today with the lads.
I cannot wait to get into this conversation. It's a really good one.
I feel like we can call them the lads.
Sure. Why not? They are lads.
We're that close.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have some stuff we're going to just ramble on about. You know, hitting 150 episodes is a big deal. And we got some new music from Santa Claus we'll want to tell you guys about. But out of respect for the folks who may not care about Brian and Sarah and only care about Rob and Vaughn, we are going to save that for the end.
Right. Yeah, so you don't have to listen to that now. We'll wait and do that later.
So stick around after the interview proper, and we will pat ourselves on the back for reaching this milestone. Before we do get to the show, though, we do want to point out we are doing a giveaway in honor of having Rob and Vaughn here with us for the big episode.
That's right.
We have a signed copy. You can see it right here in front of us there. It's a signed copy of the new EP, On the Shoulders
by both
of Giants. Autographed by both of them, which is very nice. Nice gold lunar ink that they used, so it fits right with the theme of the CD. So we're going to give that away along with one of our newfangled Permanent Record Podcast T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
That suddenly appeared in December. We gave a few away at our annual festive Bowie Bingo tournament.
That's right.
But here's another chance to win one. All you have to do to win this great pair of prizes is to share this episode on your social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just tag us in the post so we see that you shared it. We'll enter you in a drawing, and by the end of the month, we will draw a winner.
Well, that sounds easy enough, and for some really great prizes, too. I hope everybody participates.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, because we got to get the word out about this great EP. They say in the interview that they have 3 copies left, physical media, and we want to get those 3 copies sold.
Yes, that's right.
So let's spread the word about the interview and the greatness of this band.
I'm all for it.
All right, so here we go. This is our conversation with Vaughn and Rob, VHXRR. Oh, you can find them on social media if you don't already follow them. They are at VHXRR on Twitter, VHXRR Music on Facebook, and of course their wares are available on bandcamp.com. Just go to www.vhxrr.com and that will take you right to their store where you can buy everything that they have available at this point. So, Sarah, I've gone on long enough.
Okay.
Let's jump into the episode. Here's our conversation with the lads.
Out on the moonlit sky, there's nowhere to hide from all that we're feeling. Out where the wrong way ends and silence begins. The empire's burning, and in the night in which we found we're all alone.
All right, folks, so if you have downloaded the episode, you've seen the name of the episode, episode 150. We're really excited for our big 150th episode. We have some old friends returning to join us to talk about their latest album called On the Shoulders of Giants. This is, of course, our friends Rob Rowe and Von Hertzog from the band VHXRR. Guys, we have you on the screen. Can you hear us okay?
Sound great? Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, sure. Our pleasure. We really appreciate because you guys have gone from strength to strength with these EPs, and each one is bigger than the next. You know, we appreciate that you're taking time to join us here for our anniversary episode and to talk about your new music. And before we get started, we should point out to people that the new EP and the previous EPs in the Cosmos Trilogy are all available for you to listen to, purchase, enjoy, screenshot the nice artwork. You just have to go to vhxrr.bandcamp.com, and that's where you can find everything that they have available for you to listen to. Also follow them on Twitter at vhxrr.
That's pretty easy. I think everyone should be able to remember that. Just a bunch of letters, but important letters.
Basically, if they remember www.vhxrr.com, that's the key, right? That'll take them right to the store.
Yep.
And all the social links are from there.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is your hub for all things Vaughn and Rob.
All right. Well, we're really excited to talk about this album. We've been playing it, well, for the past couple months. We keep calling it new. It's new-ish. It's been out since, when did it come out, Vaughn? Like the middle of August?
September, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that
beginning
sounds
of
right.
September?
I think it was was September, wasn't it?
Okay.
Does time have meaning anymore? I don't think time has any meaning.
Yeah.
I think it's being released tomorrow.
Well, I know that the package that UPS or USPS lost, I mailed on August 26th. And I know that I was mailing them early so that it would hit the release date. So we must have been in.
I was going to do my best not to bring up that USPS fiasco.
Well, please find other shipping options.
I'm going to say it was probably around either the 9th or the 16th of September because those were both Fridays.
September 10th.
Oh, 10th. Okay.
We did it by the full moon.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, right. Yes,
Yep.
of course. Okay, very nice.
The new album, On the
Okay.
Shoulders of Giants, has been available since September. If you haven't heard it, listen to it now. We're getting ready to do a podcast this week, the Sly Dog Music Cast, where we're going to go on and talk about our 10 favorite albums of 2022.
Yes.
And I just made my list this morning, and you guys appear on it. I'm not going to tell you where you appear in the top 10 because I don't want your heads to get too big while we're talking here. But
Well, thank you at all for the inclusion.
Well,
So,
sure.
And thank you for having us on today. I feel like Rob and I kind of looked at each other earlier for who was going to answer, and then you moved on. So thank you for having us on.
Of course.
We appreciate being here.
sure thing. We appreciate it too.
Absolutely our pleasure to do so.
So let's touch on the writing of the material for this third installment. We've talked about the first two EPs and how the songs were created. Did things continue the way they had been previously, or did you mix things up at all with the writing for this third E EP?
I think we continued pretty much as we created the first two, with the exception of Slipped. We were working on songs. Vaughn had sent me a bunch of tracks, and I was down to like the last 3 or 4 snippets that he had sent me, and I just wasn't getting anything to work. Like nothing was clicking. Totally my fault because the tracks were very cool.
Yeah, but you can't force it. If
Yeah,
it
you
doesn't
can't
fit, you can't force it. So
Sometimes it does not work.
Yeah, I'd never take offense.
Yeah. And so, at some point this one day I just kind of gave up and I was just messing around on the piano. I started writing this thing and it turned into Slipped. And I was trying to decide, like, is this something for myself, for White Weights, or could this be a VHXRR song? And I decided that it did kind of fit. So I contacted Vaughn. I said, hey, do you want to try something a little different this time? I'm just going to send you a verse, chorus, and just piano chords underneath that. And you can basically do what you want musically with that. So I passed it off to Vaughn, and then you did what?
You see where we ended up. It was cool to work that way, because sometimes the hardest part is finding out what you want the chords and the progression to be, right? So like having that already there, it was like, all right, let's get to work. I could kind of dig in and start deciding where to go with it. When we were mixing the song, when we were getting to like the final part and we were trying to get the final mixes and masters for everything, that was a song that I struggled with to get the low end right, to have it sit right where we wanted it. I think versions like 7 to 11 were just changing how the bass sounded until we got it where we wanted.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, boom, that's it. Print it.
It's so funny to me that that song is one that was sort of different from the other ones. To me, when I listen to this EP, that's the song that has the most VHXRR moment of the entire album. In that sort of mid-song part where the music drops out and the drums just kind of go bump, 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 and then there's a pause for a second. I didn't do it very well, but like when I heard that the first time, I just started smiling and I was like, that totally takes me back to like the first EP, the percussion and the little one beat rest or whatever you would call it musically. I was like, wow, that's so VHXRR. And then to hear that this is the one track that wasn't written that same way is crazy.
But it is the track that was written by both of us, where Rob tends to only send musical tracks over on occasion. This one, the music was essentially formed by him, but the sound was formed by me, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the sound design and all the choices came from that. And I did play additional melody stuff on top, but it wouldn't have ever gotten there without him sending me what he sent me.
Yeah.
Was that fun for you to do that differently?
Yeah. I don't know if I gave it like a different attention, but knowing that I was working on his original stuff made me feel a little different in the sense of like, don't mess this up.
And Rob, one more thing for you about this, because I was going back and forth whether or not I was going to bring this up, but you just mentioned it right now. So the last time we spoke, you had said like you tentatively were working on some songs for another White Weights project. Since you mentioned it, I'm going to ask you, how's that going?
You opened that door.
During that interview, I broke a rule that I have, which is never set release dates, never mention release dates until something's done. So what's happened since then? I've written more songs. I've gone back and revisited the ones that I was talking about during that interview, and I've redone a bunch of stuff. So from working on the Cosmos Trilogy, my vocal engineering skills have gotten better. I've upgraded a bunch of gear, and so that's kind of like changed how I'm doing things and how things sound. So when I went back and revisited those songs, it was just like, I can't release these vocal tracks this way. Like, not that they were bad, but I know that I can do better now. So I've been in the process of kind of revisiting the arrangements and mostly like cutting a lot of stuff out because I tend to like fill up a mix too much and like not leave space for vocals. And one of my goals in the last year has been to get better at mixing. I'm not delusional. I don't think I'm ever going to be at like Bond's level, or, you know, I've worked with so many great people that know how to mix. Keith is amazing with the C&E stuff. Ryan, who mixed the first White Weights album. There's a dark art to mixing, and I don't quite get it. But my goal over the last year is to get my skills to the point where at least my demos are not embarrassing.
That sounds good. Good luck on that quest. I'm sure you will be more than up to the challenge.
It's been fun. You know, it's fun learning new things. You know, as I said, I've always relied on other talented people for that. And so it's been fun to like just tinker in the studio and watch tutorials and get Vaughn's opinions on things and his tips and apply them. Just like when you're mixing a song, it is tiny incremental changes. You learn something, you apply it, and it makes like a 0.001% difference, but you get enough of those and it like trickles up into
Cumulative. Yeah.
real difference. My goal, and I'm not saying I'm going to release something this year, but my goal is to at some point move on from this set of songs so I can move on to like one of the songs I've been working on that's just, it's way too full of stuff. It's been really hard to mix. It sort of was my challenge song to mix. And I've gone on and done a couple of others that have been a lot easier because they're much more spare. This one's like super full of stuff. I wrote that song like 7 years ago. So at this point, I am so sick of it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very close to being done. I'm redoing a bunch of vocals. I've just got some like backing vocals to do, and then I can move on from that one.
Very cool.
But I like that you're not so done with it that you are like, I don't even want to touch it anymore. You're determined to get this out into the world, and I'm glad of that.
I like to finish what I start.
Yeah, that's cool.
The best way to get good at mixing is to do mixes. There's no shortcut. Like, it's all experience, and there's nothing better to mix than your own music because you know how you want it to sound. My mixing got a lot better from working on VHXRR songs because I had the time to work on them and I knew how I wanted it to sound. And sometimes it's a dark journey of, you know, like felt like a hobbit, you know, like just winding through obstacles. But once it like clicks and, you know, it's one of the greatest things in the world. But you just got all the right equipment. You got everything you need. So it's just a matter of digging in.
So going back to VHXRR and the Cosmos Trilogy, with this being a trilogy, there are themes that wind through these songs on each installment. So as you're writing, do those themes function as helpful guidelines or limiting constraints?
It's a great question. In a way, it's both. I think constraints are sometimes good when you have endless choices. Musicians, producers go through this all the time, especially now because we have access to like billions of plugins and any instrument, any sound. And so like you can really be spoiled for choice and it can be paralyzing, you know. But having this sort of guide, this theme that we were trying to continue through all three kind of helped narrow things down for me lyrically. And I have to say, I was very worried about the third one because, you know, after you've done 2 EPs talking about planets and moons and space and all this stuff, it's like, oh my God, how is this going to be interesting? But kudos to Vaughn because, and I think this is why Vaughn has the personality of like what makes a good producer, a guide. At some point, I don't think we'd even started writing. And I don't know if it was a text or we talked on the phone or it was, I don't know how we communicated. You might have just like come to me in a dream or something. But Vaughn said, I think this next EP should be about the moon. And like something in me just like clicked. And I was like, all right, I can do that. And that made it a lot easier.
Oh, that's interesting.
I love that. That's great.
My favorite song of the album is very focused on the moon. I never picked up that it was a theme throughout every song, but it definitely, the moon is a presence in Heavenly Outline.
How does Shattered Bones start?
It's a pop quiz. Pop music quiz.
I was going to tell you the lyrics, but I love when Sarah reads lyrics. And I was hoping you'd have them in front of you.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. You're the best lyric reader, I know.
Wow. I've never heard that before. That's a wonderful compliment.
You make it all sound good.
Out under moonlit sky, there's nowhere to hide from all that we're feeling.
There it is.
There you go.
It's the moon.
I love the moon. Yesterday, I was wearing the necklace Brian got me for my birthday, which is an image of the moon, the phase of the moon the day I was born.
Oh, wow. That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Very
Waxing
cool.
gibbous.
That'd make a great band name.
Yeah, it really would.
Okay, so one thing we have learned, Sarah and I have learned from doing this podcast, is that music from one genre can often be influenced by totally different genres. Like I still remember the drums in Never Let Me Down Again on Music for the Masses are sampled from a drum track from a Led Zeppelin song. And I know from talking with Vaughn that your background, a lot of your early work was in hip-hop. So I was wondering, is there hip-hop in these songs on this LP that I've been listening to since August?
There is.
Oh my gosh.
It's not outright hip hop, but it's heavily influenced. Like I think a lot of what I found our sound to be is synth music with more of a hip hop influence on like the drums and bass. You know, I had made a remark to you once that I wish for Violator they had the engineer from Kick, the INXS album.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Because I love how Kick sounds. And it was made before, you know what I mean?
right.
So it's not a technology issue. It was just a taste issue.
Mm-hmm.
And for my tastes, I love how Kick sounds, like from beginning to end. I like how the mid range and the low ends there. If anything Depeche Mode did had like the low end of Mediate, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like how that big low comes
Right.
in. Like I love that kind of stuff. And a lot of that is from hip hop, you know, 808 drum machines. Like, well, okay, the song The Fray.
Out of the fray, under a dark windless sky, show me the way. You be the moon, I'll be the tide. I'm down on my knees.
That song only exists because one day YouTube showed me a music video for a Philly hip hop artist, Jonesy, who was featured Dave East and Jadakiss. And they did this song called Woo. And you would not have the Fray without that song. Because I literally came downstairs after my shower, put it on the studio TV on loop, and then I got to the drum machine and I started pounding out the drums for the Fray.
I've always heard hip hop in your hi-hat patterns for sure.
Well, that was one of the things I loved focusing on when I first gotten into hip hop. Because I mean, when I got in the early or late 90s, early 2000s, like sampling was still really big, and my parents had a good record collection, so I'd be sampling all kinds of stuff and throwing drums on top. And, you know, hip hop doesn't have it's loop based, so there's not like you're playing different patterns throughout the song. So you need your patterns to be interesting or like unique enough. Like that's one of the things that Timbaland does better than anybody. You can know a Timbaland drum pattern just when you hear it, like in a pop song. His sound design choices and his patterns are like unique for him. And when we were working on Don't Let Go, when I did the demo, I was like, I'm channeling Timbaland on this one. Like the bongos and the shakers and stuff, like that's the vibe I was in.
VHXRR's music is notably very synthetic in sound. However, on the song The Fray, there's a piano sound. It's like very organic piano riff in there. What prompted the decision to use that sound in that particular song?
Everything about that song is clean. Like everything is clean in it. In my head, it's just what you hear. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I couldn't picture that working for what I wanted with like a synthetic lead for that sound, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's a Nine Inch Nails influence. Like, you know how he uses a lot of like organic piano and things sometimes, and you're just like, that doesn't go with the remainder of everything, but it still somehow works.
Was that the first song that you released from the record?
Yeah, but Shattered Bones was the one we finished first. But I felt deep in my bones that Shattered Bones was a fall song. And we had one ready earlier, and I approached Rob and I said, hey, how would you feel if we put the Fray out first? Because I feel that's more end of summary than Shattered Bones. Shattered Bones had like a late October feel for me, even though I wrote it in like June and July.
No, that's awesome. That actually ties in really well with the question I was going to ask you about the release pattern or the release choices for this EP versus the first two, because the first two EPs had very upbeat first singles. But on The Shoulders of Giants, we didn't get that. You know, the third single, Heavenly Outlined, is a lot more upbeat.
Yeah, I was just tired of doing upbeat songs. Like, how much do you want? How upbeat can we be? Like, I'm joking, but you know what I'm saying. Like, at a certain point, I just wanted to play in different tempos. I felt like whether it be Calm Down Lover or Somewhere in Time or Heavenly Outline, they have like the arpeggiated bass and the four on the floor drums. And it's not like we're sticking to a formula, but there's a formula to those songs. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to just keep being the same.
We also thought it'd be fun to like ease into the last EP, lull people a little bit, and then hit them with the upbeat song a little later.
Yeah. Because again, like when fall comes around, like that season, that's just where my head is at. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and I think it goes
definitely.
back to like the things I listened to in high school in the fall. You know what I mean? Like that kind of formed my forever fall music.
Yep. It seems like by the third EP, you know, you've established yourself, you've established this is a trilogy, so you don't necessarily have to catch the attention as much as you did with the first and even the second EP, because everybody's expecting this. They already know it's coming.
Yeah, you know, you hope that our fans would give us a little leeway and like, hey, let us try and be creative. And, you know, like do something that's a little, maybe not exactly what we've done in the past, but still sounds like us. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, I think there are less obvious singles in sort of the traditional single idea, where usually the single is like the most upbeat or commercially viable or whatever, you know, more obvious of a single. I tend to not listen to my own stuff, but I went back and revisited the EP last couple of days to kind of prepare for this. 'Cause I haven't listened to it in a while. And Heavenly Outline it's a single.
Chasing heaven, hidden
Heavenly Outline. Like I said, this is my favorite song on the album. It features some incredibly good lyrics. I love the lyrics to this track, and those lyrics match up with the insanely catchy melody really well. So when a song comes directly from a meaningful personal experience like this one does that make a song easier or more difficult to write?
Oh, way easier. The way I write, it's visual. If I don't get images and scenarios in my head that I then sort of write down, the song doesn't really make sense. So because this was from an actual experience that I had in Thailand in 2001, all I had to do was just tap into those memories and kind of like write down in hopefully a poetic way what I experienced, what I saw. So yeah, much easier.
But there's no part of you that, as you're writing those lyrics, there's no part of you that is maybe a little hesitant about sharing so much of yourself. Like you don't say like, oh, maybe I'm revealing too much of myself here with this line. I need to change it. I
think I try to keep things vague enough so that they can sort of be universal and people can inject their own meanings into the songs. So no, I wasn't afraid.
So if that makes a song easier for you to write than the song Island on White Weights, that was a real easy one?
Yes, for sure. The exact same kind of scenario. Travel is an amazing way of just opening yourself up. When you're in an unfamiliar environment, which is what, travel is all about, your senses are so much more heightened because you have to be more aware because everything is new. And so I just think you're just much more open as opposed to, just going about our daily lives where you're just in sort of auto mode in a lot of times. So yeah, Island was about a trip to Iceland. I heard an interview with the singer of Elbow, and he had this one song that didn't make the album. It got turned into like a different song. It was about a trip to India that he took. And it was a beautiful song. This was just the demo. It was absolutely beautiful. But like he decided that they couldn't release it because it just sounded like he just wrote a song about, I took a trip to India. And that didn't have enough meaning. So I thought about that with Island, and I thought about that with this song. But I do like to think that it's not just a telling of a vacation. There's another level of meaning in there that, maybe makes it a little more interesting than just a travel log.
Oh yeah, that definitely is true. That definitely comes through with those two songs.
Yeah, sometimes I would think it is hard to divorce what people are hearing from what is in your head when you write it down.
I've never been concerned with whether people get the same meaning out of a song that I intended or the meaning it has for me, because that's the beauty of music. Any interpretation is valid. Any meaning somebody gets out of it, because they're injecting their own experience or their own feelings into the song and then getting meaning out of it. It's just all valid. Whatever meaning you can find for a song, like, that's okay.
I think that's true of good art, right?
Right. That would apply to visual arts, paintings, a story, a short story. That's a great point. Artists create things that allow us to kind of process our own thoughts and experiences through their vision as well.
So a lot of differences in tone in this EP. There's quite a difference in tone between the first track, Shattered Bones, and the last song, Don't Let Go. The EP starts off pretty dark, but then it ends on an uplifting note. So I have a bunch of questions about that. Is Shattered Bones a personal assessment, or is it a commentary on something larger?
There have been like probably millions of pandemic songs that have been written because, you can't really avoid it. And I didn't want to like make it obviously about that, but I do think it was a reaction to what everyone was going through. We were strongly reminded how fragile everything is. Systems are fragile, people are fragile. And so I think that's kind of where that came from. It also came from, I read this article around about that time about how the Andromeda galaxy is going to collide with our Milky Way galaxy, and how it's actually already started. There's this sort of outer layer of galaxies. It's this like halo. I'm not a scientist. I can't remember like what it's made up. It's maybe just mostly like gas or something like that. And the outer halos of our galaxy and Andromeda galaxy are already colliding. So, you know, in billions of years, they're going to hit. It's going to be chaos. And so like I was thinking about that, like that's pretty fragile. That's how I got the line out where the angels fly, because it was this halo belt. And so I imagined angels or whatever. So just the fragility of everything. I think that's what that song's about.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you actually say out where the angels fly, the stars will collide. So
Yeah.
it is lifted from there. Hey, Vaughn, that same idea of the pandemic songs, if we hadn't lived through a pandemic and had to put up with those 2 years of isolation and stuff, would this third EP, would the music sound the same as it does?
Oh, no, for multiple reasons. Gear, for one, has changed a lot. Also, yeah, just going through that experience, I learned more to just roll with the punches. I learned to like understand there's things I can change and there's things I can't change. And all I can do is operate with that understanding. You know what I mean? Like 2020 was an awful year for a lot of people. And, you know, we lost loved ones and it was a lot to deal with. I think we were all optimistic for 2021 to be better, and it didn't always turn out that way for everybody either. And, you know, we're still going through it. But yeah, I think the music at any point, whenever we work on something, it's always just going to be like everything that I've experienced up till there that helps influence it. The first Information Society EP was called like Creatures of Influence.
Right.
This was like way, way back. And I love that idea or that phrase or concept. You know what I mean? Because we are. Otherwise, you wouldn't have popularity and that kind of stuff. Like people are easily influenced. A lot of times people don't want to admit it. Like I'm not that easily influenced. All right, maybe not easily, but you can't say you're not influenced. Everything that you experience influences your future decisions. So we are only like the sum of our experiences in the end.
Well, so back to Rob. What made you want to write something like Don't Let Go and then end the album with it?
There's nowhere left to go. The night has left you hollow. I could be something to hold till the sun comes up tomorrow. And it's all so hard, I know. Don't let go. Don't let go. It's all so dark, I know. Don't let go. Don't let go.
I didn't necessarily want to write something like Don't Let Go. I don't go into songs with any kind of intention as to what it's going to be. I think Don't Let Go ended up being what it was. It was just what Vaughn sent me, the chords, whatever the chords are, I can't remember now. But like there was just something about the mood of those chords that pushed me into that direction. Sort of a more pretty, softer, more positive kind of a song. Because I write through improvising, and I know like a lot of people do that, I'm not special. When I started writing that way, I was like, why didn't I write this way all the time? And then I've come to find out that like everybody writes this way. It's like, oh, I'm not special. I'm just I think there's a thing that happens when you're writing, when you're trying to write to something that's like already existing or just some chords or whatever. There's a moment when you stumble upon something where there's a synergy between either the melody or a vocal phrase and the music that matches emotionally. And for me, when that happens, like, I don't think I've ever like really talked about this, but like when that moment happens, I get this weird sort of like vibration on the inside of my skull. It's like a physical reaction to like, oh, this is right. Like it just feels right. And that's what happened with Don't Let Go. I think I fumbled around for like maybe an hour, and then I can't even remember, like maybe a phrase or a melody hit, and then that was it. And then the song just like wrote itself after that. I think I was done in like another hour or so.
Oh my
That
gosh.
might have been one of the fastest songs that we've ever done. Like that literally came together in like from demo to finished in like 3-4 versions. It wasn't a lot of heavy lifting on that one.
Wow, that indicator inside your head is like an awesome thing, because you know if you get to that point, you can stop second guessing yourself, and you know you're on the right trail, and just
Higher vibrational levels, baby.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I immediately think of that with cooking, though. I'm like, oh, it's like when I make spaghetti sauce, and I make it different every time. But there's a point, and I'm fiddling with it, and I taste it. I'm like, that's it. All right, we're done. And I don't have a vibration in my head, but I have a good sensation in my mouth, and I'm like, all right, this is what I wanted it to be. And I love the way you explained that. Thank you so much, Rob.
That's a great comparison. My wife's a great cook, and there's so much like sort of improv that goes on with cooking and knowing flavors and adding things, because you can taste it in your brain before you actually taste it, you know, which is like fascinating. Like I never used to get that. I've done enough cooking with my wife now that I can taste things with my brain. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, this needs this, you know, and like it's the same kind of thing with songwriting, where you're just like, oh, it's not quite there. It just needs this one other element, or this, you know, this line needs to go up a little bit, or, you know, it's the same kind of thing.
I feel like cooking is art and baking is science, right?
Yes, absolutely.
They're both foods,
Yep.
but you can't get clever with baking.
No.
Because it will fall apart.
That's exactly right.
And I feel that like music theory is like baking, and the music itself ends up like art. Like you can mix whatever you want into it to get it where you want it.
I love that.
And no one can tell you you're wrong in the end if it tastes good to that person, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed this track. I'm going to take us away from all the food analogies, because I didn't have breakfast this morning, and it's past our lunchtime, so that's making my stomach growl. But when I first heard this song, as it started, I was like, wow, this sounds a little out of place on the EP. By the end of the track, I loved it. But the thing that struck me the most that first listen was there's a Cure album called Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Came out in the mid to late 80s. And it's a crazy Cure album because it's all over the place. I remember as a kid, I would say, like, this is a party album. They recorded this one. It's not as serious as Pornography and some of their earlier stuff. And the songs run the gambit in terms of meaning. But the very last song on the album is called Fight. And when I was listening to it for the first time, I'm like, oh, it's just going to be an angry Cure song like The Kiss. The first song is a really angry Cure song. But when you get to it, it's the last song of the album. But it's a very optimistic song, and it's telling the listener to fight when there's nothing to feel, when there's nothing to hold, when there's no time to run away, and you just feel so old. Fight, fight, fight. Just push it away. You know, it doesn't sound as nice as your song, and the singing is not as good as the singing on your song, but the sentiment is exactly the same. This album came out. The world had opened up. We first heard this album on vacation up in Cape Cod, and we were having a great time. But it really did affect me, hearing this very positive message, and it took me back to the first time I heard that song, and I really, really appreciated this track and loved it. So thank you for this song.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
sentiment.
And I agree. Like at first I was thinking like, I don't know if this fits. And I think if it had been placed in the middle of the album, it probably wouldn't work as well.
I agree.
I think we were pretty close to done. And Vaughn said, I think this should be the last song. And I was like, I was thinking the same thing. There's something about the outro of the song that I can't even remember how we actually finished it, but I could just imagine it doing one of those super long, slow fades. And
You had me take like the button off the end. You wanted it to end like at the end of the bar instead of on the first note of the next bar.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Yeah.
Because it kind of has that, leaves you hanging.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't quite resolve at the end. That's right. Yep.
I like that.
So that was a conscious choice.
All right. So more about conscious choices. Did you see this as the darkest and most downbeat of the trilogy? And if so, if you did see that, how do you think that happened?
I didn't say it that way.
I also didn't really see it that way, but I was concerned at some point that we had too much down tempo stuff. That was why I think one of the reasons I suggested trying Slipped, because it was like a little higher tempo than what we had going on, just so we would have a nice kind of up and down flow to the last thing. But I don't think it's any darker than the others. It's a little longer, so maybe there's more darkness just by volume.
Yeah, I don't know that the track listing could have gone in any other order for this one, because I feel like just from a storytelling standpoint, it feels like it had to go this way, at least for me.
The first EP is I don't get an overall sense of tone from the first EP when I listen to it. I'm not sure why. Maybe if I thought about it more, I would. The second EP, it has some dark things on it, but the emotion or the feeling that I get off of that second one is bittersweet. And this one, I just got a sense of dark. Sarah asked that question, but that was actually one of my questions that I wrote. So if Sarah got that totally wrong, if the question's totally wrong, it was actually me that got it wrong. When I listen to it, I just get this tone that's darker than the other two. So that's why that was asked.
You know, the first EP came together just as literally the first 4 songs we wrote. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I understand there being less of a like cohesive tone. And also I didn't mix or master that. We had Count do that.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
So-
that's right.
That was one of the most valuable lessons for me, like being an engineer now and working with clients, is being on the client side of it and like handing your music over to someone and being like, do something, make it better. And then that feeling of like just being totally afraid that it's not going to work. You know what I mean? It helps me be on the other end of it now as the engineer, because it's like, yeah, I understand, man. Like, you're nervous. I'm not going to screw it up. Don't worry. And what I give you back doesn't have to be the final thing. Let's work to get to where you want to be. But I don't know if I'd have been as understanding on my end professionally had I not been on like the client side of it and worked through it. But then I feel the second EP was us kind of finding the sound. Like I remember working on it and just being like, oh, I think I got it. Like I think this is what our sound is. And this last EP I feel is our best because I knew 100% who we were when we were writing it. You know what I mean? From the beginning to the end, like I knew who we were, what we were about, what we were trying to do, and how I could kind of fit it into that sound. And that's why I feel like we worked so hard on getting Slipped right, because it was like, we're so close. Like I can't get this, you know, I don't want to do something that isn't right. I want to make sure that we buttoned everything up, you know what I mean? And that we're happy when we put it out. So like, I think a lot more sound design went into it on my end for these sets of songs. Of trying to do my best with taking his lyrics once I get them back and like bringing that in as a musical tone, not like a frequency tone. I mean, like a general tone, like The Undertow. That's a song that's like deep and undulating and there's like distortion in it, but it's like intentional. You know what I mean? Because there is like that struggle and like resistance that's built into that song. And, you know, that song doesn't get there without us watching Rob's favorite movie. Yeah, it was a rough 30-minute beginning. I was like, whew, solid movie, you know.
It's not a nice movie.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be. And it came from that era where like movies were unapologetic. Now I feel like everything is so policed tone-wise that like, you know, you can't get away with the same kind of shit that you used to. And at some level, accuracy of the struggle of the human experience gets lost. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Because you're sugarcoating it or like buffing it in some way, like the Vaseline on the lens. It just feels less authentic, I guess. I don't know. That movie felt raw. It felt like I was there.
Yeah, I watch a bunch of like film noir crime movies from the 40s and 50s with my dad every week. Sometimes you have to laugh, like the code that was in place in Hollywood at the time makes the story so unrealistic at times, you know, simply because bad guys have to lose and they have to go to jail at the end. And, you know, there's a Humphrey Bogart movie, We're No Angels, where these 3 criminals escape from jail. They had this adventure over Christmas time. And at the end of the movie, because bad guys have to be punished, their characters just decide, oh, we were better off in jail.
Oh, let's go back.
Yeah, they actually turn themselves
3
in and go
meals a
back.
day. What could be wrong? Kind of nice. Roof over my head.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand what you mean about the legitimate experience being lessened because of the film sometimes.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to jail. Believable.
Standing on the fucking thing. You know what I mean? We're tossing all these satellites and shuttles out into the cosmos. What do they think they're going to find up there that they can't find down here? They think if they're this high enough, they're going to come across the monkey with the beard.
Well, yeah, we played a game, the Newlywed Game, right? Which
Yeah,
was
that's right.
Yeah, pretty much.
We were very hazy on the rules.
Yeah.
That's true. But your wife explained it. Your wife explained it.
Yes, absolutely. But eventually we got to the point where we found Rob's favorite movie. And when we were working on the Undertow this time around, he sent it back to me and there was like the voice sample in it. I was like, what is this from? And he told me and I was like, all right, I got homework. So, like I said, it was a tough watch. I watched it in 2 nights. I was emotionally spent about halfway through. Like after a long day, there's just only so much like, emotional abuse you can watch. And I came back the next day, watched it again, and then I watched it another time in its entirety. And it absolutely helped influence the way like the music sounded because I understood the struggle. Yeah, Johnny was going through it.
And when I put that sample in from the movie Naked, it's one of David Thewlis's amazing rants that he has through the whole film. All of his monologues are like crazy good. But when I put it in and I sent it to Vaughn, like my idea was in the breakdown, I just thought it'd be cool to just have this little bit of like texture. So maybe somebody just talking, but like you can't really hear what they're saying, sort of in the background, reverbed out, stuff like that. Just to add it like a texture. I'd put a ton of effects on it and kind of put it low in the mix.
It was very echoey, yeah.
Yeah, and then Vaughn said, "Hey, can you send me that without effects?" And like now you can hear every word. So it wasn't how I intended it to be, but I love where it ended up.
It's still actually sort of difficult to make out, I think. I had to listen to it very carefully with earbuds to make out what he was saying.
He's kind of got that thick
He's British.
northern accent.
Yeah, but what he is saying felt like exactly, the point of the song. He's being pulled down while what's the point of going to space? We're drowning here now, like on Earth. Like, what are we looking to out there? You think you're going to find God? He's not there.
Yeah, it fits really
This
well
guy's take, yeah.
with the song and actually the theme of the EP overall, I think.
That's why I didn't want to bury it. It
Right.
felt like very valid to like, plus he says Cosmos. Come on, man.
Yep.
Yeah. It's right there.
Yeah.
Very on brand.
Indeed.
All right, so we're up to the point where we have some individual questions for each of you. So if either of you needs to take a
I'll
break.
go get some coffee. I'm empty.
Perfect.
You're on, Rob.
Now we can talk about him.
Yeah, let's talk
Exactly.
about him now that he's gone.
Guy, I tell you.
I know, that guy. What a guy. Well, no, let's talk about you, Rob. Let's talk about your summer. What did you do this last summer? You hit the road as a cause and effect. Wow.
Oh my God, I was like, what did I do this summer? Yes, I went on like a 5-city Texas tour with Anything Box. It's the first live shows in years.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting, very scary. It was a lot of work. Shout out to Rick Campbell, who played synths and helped put the show together. We worked together, but he's like a tech wizard, so I don't think I would have finished without him. But yeah, we did 5 cities. We started in Houston, then we did Fort Worth. We went to El Paso, which I hadn't played El Paso since the very first Cause and Effect tour in like maybe 90 or 91.
Wow.
That was cool to go back there. And then we did San Antonio and Austin. The shows were great. The crowds were incredible, especially San Antonio. That show, there was just something about the venue and the people. It was like I walked out and like immediately got chills. It was like, when there's like a good energy going on in a show, like I like immediately felt that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was also exhausting.
Yeah. How much did you have to prepare, and how did you prepare? Because you hadn't played in how long?
Rick and I did 2 shows, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. So we had all that stuff sort of built, and we just had to like build on top of that, change the setup from last time, did a few different songs and added Shattered Bones to the set, because I was like, if I'm going to do this, like I want to do, one of our songs in the set. So that was fun. That was actually like really exciting because it was new. So it was like really exciting to like perform that, and it went over really well. Great response.
Oh, that's awesome. Comparing that with the classic songs, how did that feel? Was that fun to play those live again?
It was. We did a stripped down version of Sinking from Trip, which hasn't been played since the Trip tour in '94, I guess. So that was fun. We just did that with me on acoustic guitar, and then Rick just sort of like played some synths and then did all the backing vocals through a vocoder. So it was like a totally different version, but it worked really well.
I was really excited to see that you broke out Sleep from the Artificial Construct EPs. That's one of my favorite later day songs.
That may be my favorite song to perform. It's a very emotional song. Like, there's not been a time when I've been on stage singing that where I don't tear up at some point.
I believe that.
And it always surprises. It comes at a different part in the song too every time, and like I'm just like, oh, there it is. There's the one tear. That's a really fun song to sing live.
Oh, that's super cool.
I think Keith nailed the production on that song. And not only does it sound great in the recording, but like when it's being pumped through a big club system, it sounds amazing.
How did that tour even come together? Like, how did you hook up with Anything Box, and how did that become something in 2022 that you were able to do?
There's this guy out of Houston, Robert, and he runs Past Present Productions. He's a DJ, VJ, and he manages Anything Box and a bunch of other bands. We've been in contact over the years. Cine was supposed to do a show that he was promoting, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, and it didn't work out. But, we've stayed in touch, and he just kept bugging me. Like, he's like, come on, I want to do this, and got these shows with Claude, and I think it would be a good sort of co-headlining tour. And so we worked out details, and he put it all together. There's another promoter out of Fort Worth, Crystal. I can't remember the name of her company, but she sort of also teamed up with Robert to make that show happen.
That's so awesome that you got to do that. And I immediately went on Setlist FM, whatever the website is, to see what songs you were doing. And there's so many good songs. You broke out a song from Innermost, which was great.
Was that real?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just so sad that I was hoping that like Texas would be a big hit, and then you would get to do other places. I don't know how realistic it is, at this point in your life, you could take a couple months off work and go on a tour, but I was hoping we would get to see you on the East Coast. Is there any chance that, I'm sure as you were doing these tours, you must have at least one night made a good recording off the soundboard. Is there any chance that this might show up on Bandcamp, on the Cause and Effect Bandcamp page at some point?
Probably not. The problem with like board mixes is like they don't usually sound very good without sort of multi-tracking the live thing and then getting everything balanced properly. Actually listen to it. I've never heard a board recording that really sounds
okay.
great.
That's because the board is adjusting for the room.
Right.
Okay.
And every room is different, so.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
There is somebody filmed the whole show in Houston, so that's up on YouTube somewhere.
Yep, we did watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Shattered Bones.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of setlist.fm, I was very amused by the fact that when you go check out to see what songs you were playing, when it lists Island, it declares that that's a White Weights cover. Yeah. As if you're covering some completely different band.
You should check out the vocalist, though. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. He's
That's
pretty
really
cool.
funny. That's funny. Rick, who played keyboards, I met Rick on tour, like for, I think it was before Trip. It was like some earlier tour when we became like really good friends. And so he was a fan for this whole tour. He's like, I really like being in the CNE cover band.
What?
To wrap that up, do you think that's it for the time being, or is there a chance that next summer something else may happen?
I'll never say no or never. This worked out really well, partly because of pandemic, because I had extra vacation time that I couldn't take off because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this extra time that I could take off and do the tour. It was also nicely compressed. All 5 shows happened sort of within a week over 2 weekends, and El Paso was like midweek. Most of the shows Robert books tend to just be weekends. And so it's hard to justify all of the prep and expense that goes into getting somewhere if it's just for like one show on a weekend.
Yeah.
But if there was another big string of shows that made sense and would be fun, I would totally do it for sure.
Very cool.
That's excellent.
All right, Vaughn. So you work at a pretty amazing studio called the Social Club.
Thank you.
We were lucky enough to visit it about a year ago, but a lot has happened there since we last stopped by. So one of the main things is that the Social Club is now on Patreon. Why should people be following you there?
Well, there's 2 potential reasons, I think, at the forefront. One, you just want to be a part of the community or learn more about audio. I'm releasing videos every month on different techniques or digital audio theory, so people have an understanding of what they're doing. Like, the first thing you do when you set up a session is it asks you what bit depth and what sample rate you want to set your session at, right? Most people 16-bit, 44.1, whatever. I did videos on each of those topics that give you a deep dive to explain why you should pick specific ones, and the advantages are there. That's one side of it. The other side is for the tiers that start at $50 on up, which I realize is a lot of money per month, you get that same amount of money back in credit for services here. So if an artist wants to do an album and they don't want to come drop, thousands of dollars at once, it's easier sometimes to space it out over time. And then when they're ready, boom, they don't owe the full amount at the end. So that was kind of the thought process behind starting it, was giving people a way to kind of like almost lay away their music.
Right.
But also try and get something out of it too, where like, for $50, like you get a 1-for-1 credit. For like $100, you get $1.15 per dollar. And 200 is, I think, $1.30 per dollar. So you can actually end up getting more back by prepaying than if you would just come to me and want to pay all at the end.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know, how much utility it'll have long term, but I hope people take to it and like it. Thank you for being a member, Brian and
Sure.
Rob. Thank you, guys.
I'm not that $50 member. I feel guilty now. I'm not a $50 member.
No, but here's the thing. Like, what audio services would you need in return? Like, that tier doesn't make any sense for you. I mean, I'm happy to take your $50 if you want. I'm not trying to say your money's no good. I'm just saying, from a utility standpoint, I want people to get value out of it.
Yeah, very cool.
I hope that comes through.
Also, there at the Social Club, you've been mixing and mastering for a number of artists, including one kind of new artist, at least new to me, that I've been enjoying recently, Annie.
Yes.
And
she's awesome.
She released a number of songs that you mixed just under her own name, but then the most recent track is a song called Danger Electricity, which is actually credited to both of you. Like, how did that come together, and why is that song different than her previous track?
Getting off the train, my ears are rushing through the streets so fast. The feeling is insane. I just wanna make this evening last. Make it last. Caution, can you feel the heat? Danger, did our eyes just meet? Watch out, are you holding me? Caution, danger, electricity.
Our working relationship kind of evolved. So when it started, the first song she and I worked together on was a song called Hide the Sun. And that was, I want to say, October 2021. Then a month later, her and her husband came to me. He is a music supervisor for Broadway shows and stuff. And they had an idea for like a holiday song, like a Christmas song, and that turned into All Is Bright. And that was a tight deadline. They needed it for something. And like in 3 days, we had to get the song written, recorded, mixed, and ready to go.
Yikes.
So yeah, so like we're hopping on Zoom calls trying to figure out things. But in the end, we came out with a song that I really actually like. And
Yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah, and so after that, we kept working. And on all of those songs, I did co-production on. But as we started getting further along, we decided for both of our like online visibility, it made sense to list us almost like a featured artist kind of thing. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not necessarily featured on our song, we're kind of put up there as like co-artists. But for all of those songs, she is the lead. Like she'll bring me a demo and from there we'll turn it into something else. But she's doing all the songwriting. I'm not, doing any additional writing as much as I'm doing just like the production, like helping take the notes and choose the sounds that we use for them, like going through patches and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And just fleshing it out and getting everything a little more advanced. Yeah, I think we've done 5 or 6 songs together. We have a couple more in the stash, and it's been awesome. She's been a lot of fun to work with. She has like a musical theater and operatic background, so like her voice is right on point. And when the pandemic hit, she got into music production, and that's how we ended up linking up in 2021. Then she's a pro, you know what I mean? Even if she doesn't necessarily have all of like the technical recording process know-how, like her songwriting and her musical ability is bar none.
Yeah, there was recently a little online happy hour that you did with supporters of the social club, and she was on there. And I can't remember what song it was, but there was one point in time where we were talking about a song, and she just sort of sang like a single line from it. But as soon as she was done, I was like, I think she sang that like exactly right, the right key, the right note. Like she just pulled it out of the air. No one said, "Here's your note,"
right?
But she got it exactly on.
Yeah, that's like wizardry to me, like how she could do that stuff.
Okay, and the last thing I wanted to ask you about, I got an email that you're now designing speakers.
Yeah.
So my question is, are these speakers that I should be using here with my stereo, or are they basically for guys like you and Rob, like people who are going to use them in a recording studio?
They're for anyone who listens to music. What makes a studio monitor different than a speaker? It just has certain characteristics. They have to be a certain level of flat across the frequency spectrum, because if it's accentuating certain parts, you're going to be compensating for that in the mix or the master, right? Like if your speakers have like a big boost at 2 kilohertz, you're going to constantly be turning down 2 kilohertz. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because it'll sound too loud for you to be natural.
Okay.
So you need speakers that are going to be as like flat and even in the room. And some of that has to do with like the phase response. Like, okay, think of it this way. Sound is a wavelength, right? Mm-hmm. It has a actual length, like a wavelength. I think like a 60 hertz waveform is like 18 feet, which is why doing sound treatment for low end is next to impossible. It's why when you're standing outside a nightclub, all you can hear is the bass, because the actual waveforms are longer than the thickness of the wall.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So the sound waves can pass through. That's why the high frequency stuff hits the wall and bounces off, because the waveforms are too short, so they reflect.
Earlier, Rob said he's not a scientist. I think you are a scientist.
Right? Totally.
Well, my favorite part about like sound is it's all just physics and math. Not that I'm really good at physics and math, but I understand its correlation to sound and how it works. I remember I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and they had an amazing studio. The 7th floor, they built like a full floating studio, meaning like it was built on like a bed of sand. And like the walls were separate from the other walls so that you had those air barriers. Rob, I'm sure you know, like when you've been to a lot of big studios, you tend to like walk through a hallway before you get into where you're going. And that hallway is an air gap. And that air gap is to help keep the real low frequency waveforms out because they're so long.
Oh my gosh. This is mind-blowing. I love it. I'm learning so much.
For more of this, join the Social Club on
I know.
Patreon.
Seriously.
And if people want to learn about the speakers and see those, do they have to join
No,
Patreon, or can they
no.
find them somewhere else?
Inclined Fidelity is the name we went with. I'm kind of doing this as a kind of partnership with my buddy Vince, who I've known since high school. We went to different high schools, but we graduated about the same time. And we've stayed friends ever since. And we've built video games together. And when we founded Inclined, like my professional company back in 2005, Vince was one of the founding members. So like he's been around since forever. And in the pandemic, we got bored and decided to build speakers, because we used to do car stereos together back in the 90s, and we'd build speaker boxes and all that stuff. So now he's gotten into woodworking and he's really good on that end. I'm good in the electronic side of things. So we decided to give this a go. And it's funny because we started it about Well, over a year ago, we started with the idea of like, let's make a really high-end like Bluetooth speaker for the house. Almost like a nice wooden piece of furniture kind of thing, but that played like really good sound. And that's where we started. And now we finished with me having like 3 different studio monitor designs. So things have migrated along the way. He's doing like the higher end cabinets, like the MTM designs, and I'm doing the assembly and finishing here and wiring them up and soldering everything together and trying to get them out.
Yeah.
But in the end, I have speakers that are like legit high quality. I realize I'm losing everyone. Everyone's glossing over it. But it is fun for me.
Yes,
so
it's
I like
clear.
it.
It's clear to see you have a passion for it and a great interest, and I hope it goes well for you as you continue with it.
And you're all welcome to come listen to them at some point. I sit here, like I get myself in the sweet spot and I turn them up and I just close my eyes and it's like, yes, this is what I wanted. Because like with the VHXRR stuff, you know, when you put it on and you hear it and you're like, yes, like that vibrational thing in your head. I get that when I can sit in the sweet spot, get everything opened up, close my eyes, and it's just, I don't know.
That's
I'm
awesome.
somewhere else.
Very cool.
Way to bring it back to the group, to the EP that we've been discussing on the Shoulders of Giants. I've been really enjoying talking with you both about it, and I think we have a few more questions about it. We'd been talking about Shattered Bones quite a bit before we kind of branched off and talked about your solo endeavors, but let's go back to Shattered Bones. That track has so many cool effects on the vocals. What was it about that song that prompted you to make the voice so intense?
It was just vibe. The thing about that song, and again, I know I'm harping on the same thing, but like that fall feel and everything, there was like a certain atmosphere that I wanted for it. Rob, like when you're picking sound or words out of the air to write them down, right? Like it's the same kind of thing on my end where like an idea will pop into my head for something and I don't necessarily know where it came from. I just know like, oh, that reverse reverb kind of thing. I want that, like that drawback kind of thing.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? I don't know why, but it's just, I heard it in my head and then it was like, now I have to make it real.
It's interesting to hear you just use like the term for what it actually is, reverse reverb, because I'm listening to it and I'm like, there's like the rumbling of a jet engine like leading into that first gasp of sound. Like I have no clue what you're doing technically, but it paints a picture in your head when you hear it and really adds to the tone of the song. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's just vibe based. It's sound design. Like I said, that thing just popped in my head and it just means for the other song it didn't.
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah, the technique's always the same, but the application of it fits one place and not the other, and I don't know why. I ended up just using a plugin that has a reverse reverb setting, but the way you do it is you'd record your voice in dry, right? You'd reverse your voice. You'd add reverb to it, then you'd reverse that back. And then that reverb sounds like it sucks up to the words then.
That's so cool.
There's also a reverse piano note in that song that kind of does the same thing.
Oh.
Well, is that what it starts at? Boom.
Okay.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh. Now that you pointed out, yes, that makes sense. I'm going to go listen to that again with that new information in my head.
How the sausage is made.
Right. But it's not gross like real sausage. It's like fascinating.
This question could be a complete disaster and you could just say no and look at me like I'm an idiot and then we'll move on. We're going back to the song Slipped, which we'd mentioned earlier. That's my second favorite track on the EP. It's a well-written take on dealing with loss, at least to me. But one day I asked myself, could this be a sequel to the earlier song Somewhere in Time?
Lying awake and thinking about a fall from Christ. Still on my outside, emptiness to my right. Through the night, we were too young to win that fight. We tore the fabric in a cold suburban light. In a parallel alternative life, still mine. For a minute or a
know it's sort of a weird idea, but did that idea ever enter your mind as you wrote this one? And if not, do you mind if I still think that it is?
That's a really interesting take. That was not the intention, but I totally get why you think that. And like I said, all interpretations are correct. So yes, you may keep that.
Thank you very much.
It wasn't the intention, but it's okay. I love that.
Because I love that earlier song, Somewhere in Time, and I don't know why, it hit me one day, and I was convinced it was that same couple that in one universe is living a wonderful life together, and in another universe is sort of falling apart. And I was like, this is one of them in the bad universe, just continuing to feel bad.
Talking about how you can parse songs differently because it comes from personal experience or whatever, right? Like, I listened to Slipped the entire time we made it.
Right.
And in my head, it wasn't someone going through pictures looking for a dead person. It was someone going through pictures looking for someone who was still alive, but separated. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when Rob sent the synopsis over, when we were doing the album thing and it talked about dealing with death and loss, I started crying because it hit me entirely. It hit me like a lead weight. In that moment, the hope was taken away.
Sorry, man.
Hey, it's good work. It was that realization of like, oh, you can't. Like, even if you find them in that picture, you can't get back to them. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But beautiful.
Terrible beauty. One last question before we get to our rapid fire round. What was one thing that each of you learned while creating the Cosmos Trilogy?
I think on a technical level, for me, I learned a lot about vocal production and doing backing vocals, which I'd never really done. There's like a little bit on the White Weights album, but like all of the VH stuff, I always imagined it with more voices. And so there's a lot more backing vocals and harmonies going on. And not having done that before, like that was a learning experience, figuring out like what works and what doesn't. One great trick I learned, and like if there's anyone out there like that has to do their own backing vocals and they sing lead, a good way of creating some separation between the lead and the backing vocals is to use a different microphone for your backing vocals than you do for the
that makes
lead.
sense.
I use a Townsend Labs modeling mic, so it basically has like 36 different microphones that you can model. I only end up using like 3 or 4 of them, but by using like a model of a U87 for the lead, and then there's this other model, I think it's a C12, it's some other older mic that is supposed to be really good for female vocals. It has this like more sparkly top end thing. If I use that on my backing vocals, I get an immediate sort of separation between the two, so it doesn't feel like one person as much.
Yeah. So now as you've been going through this process and you're getting more into coming up with harmony vocals, is that something that might translate into these future White Weight songs? Are they gonna have more background vocals than the previous record?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's part of why the one song I'm working on, why it's taking so long, because it's like, gotta sing another part.
That's awesome because I love hearing good harmonies.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be a treat. How about you, Vaughn? Did you learn anything that you didn't already know?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even engineer the first album. So,
true.
yeah, I learned a whole lot. Yeah, technically, I learned a ton, but also just from like a songwriting standpoint, Rob helped me switch up my arrangements. You know what I mean? So they weren't so, like, again, coming out of hip hop. Sorry, Sherman's on the move. And I think that was why I like Nine Inch Nails so much, because they were very loop driven, like especially the Fragile album, like it's very loop driven. And when you're used to thinking in that mindset, sometimes it's hard to break out and, find those left and right turns. And I think I figured out who I was like as an artist throughout the process. I started it one way and I finished it very differently, more confident and proud of what we did. Like for me, this last EP is probably my favorite. And we don't get here without the previous ones, but like there was something about this one that like I really wanted us to take our time and finish right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why like there was a big gap between the 3 singles coming out and then almost a year until the remainder came out for the EP. But
I know.
but you can't rush inspiration. And there's times where like Rob's work would get busy or my work would get busy. And I remember we had done Don't Let Go at like the end of the year. And I had gotten busy then because like the Harry Potter thing had come in, and like there was a bunch of like work that, you know, took me away, and I fell out of the routine of working on stuff. And Rob hit me in like April, and he was like, I miss making music. He's like, can we make music again? And I was like, I do too. So we jumped back in, and we turned out 3 other, I hope, good songs for it. But yeah, it was probably my best artistic journey to date. So I learned as much as I could have. They are, or more from this than from anything in the past. So thank you, Rob.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that wraps up our formal discussion question kind of segment, and we just have a couple rapid fire questions, and then we'll let you guys go. You can both answer these, and it's just as little or as much information as you want to give. Which one song from any of the 3 EPs best represents VHXRR?
It's hard to like pick out one because they all.
Yeah, one is a definitive one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I want to know.
Oof.
If there's somebody who said, I only have 5 minutes, if you want to introduce me to this band, they're going to learn everything or as much as they can about you guys in one track.
I would point them to Heavenly Outline only because that bass line is so Vaughn, so VH. I love the way that bass line moves. So yeah, I'd push them to that one.
Okay, good choice.
I like it.
So is that your choice too?
I get it as why, but I don't know if it would be for me. I'd say A Sky Full of Ghosts is probably the one I'd go with.
Let's count the stars, recall the past. Funny how even though they're gone, the light still lasts. Look up tonight at a sky full of ghosts. Fading light of the ones who miss the most. Wherever you are tonight, let's raise a glass and toast tonight to those fading lights in a sky full of ghosts.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that.
Okay.
That's what I thought the answer might be, Sky Full of Ghosts, because I thought that was a good taster for people who might not know the band. All right, rapid fire number 2.
All right, number 2. Which song from the new EP On the Shoulders of Giants most deserves a big budget multi-camera music video? And what would that video look like?
I'm going to say Don't Let Go. It's in the French Riviera, but you can go.
Nice.
I like that. Could I live out my Sade fantasy in that video?
Absolutely.
A nice tight sequined number.
Okay.
We'll have Zarina do the costuming.
Yeah. There was something about the rhythm when Vaughn sent it, and I actually added some other drums, but there was something about the rhythm that I felt like I was like channeling a little Sade when I was writing that one.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic.
For Don't Let Go? My inspiration for Don't Let Go was there's a song called Black Connection 4, which is, there's a group called Camp Low who came out in like 1997. They're a hip hop duo from the Bronx. On their first album was a song called Black Connection. And like their whole aesthetic is that they were like 1970s diamond crooks. So like they have this diamond crook clique and they always talk about going on heists and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I love it because it's like this whole like world that you can fall into. And, you know, there's different characters and whatnot. By the time the album came out in 2015, they were on Black Connection 4. It's, you know, another one of those heist kind of songs. But the musical textures and the like chimes and bells and the drums were kind of what inspired me for that. And then the patterns were more Timberland-ish. But yeah, you sent like bongos over for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
All right. So speaking of a world where things exist, like a special world just for a band, did you each wear your VHXRR sneakers as you recorded your parts for the EP?
I didn't while I was recording.
No.
Those are they're stage sneakers.
Oh.
They've been in a box. I'm just waiting.
Same here. I've worn them once to take the photo for
Shattered Bones.
Shattered Bones for the cover of that. I'm wearing them in that photo.
Okay.
But other than that, they've just been sitting in a box. They're beautiful, pristine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any chance that in the immediate future, I'll log into Bandcamp one day and I'll have the option to buy my own fully licensed VHXRR sneakers?
We got to take that up with like ASICs.
All right.
If they want to license it, sure.
This would be a great collaboration.
All right. And our last rapid fire question, Vaughn, you mentioned earlier how by the time you got to this third EP, you understood what VHXRR was all about. Now that the trilogy has been completed, what does the future hold for VHXRR?
New music. And
Yes.
I'm excited for new music because, you know, your question, is it like a constraint or is it like a guideline? Yeah, super helpful when you're, you know, making those 15 songs, but we just did 15 songs. And I would love to do something about something else. You know what I mean? Like just inspiration wise. I love the Cosmos Trilogy. I'm like super proud of it. And I love what we did. I think Rob came up with like unbelievable lyrics time and time again. It's the best thing I've been a part of. That said, I can't wait to make new stuff because I think we're in a better position now than I feel we were when we started.
That's great to hear because, you know, when it was released, there was all these posts, the final EP in the series. And I'm like, oh.
Just the series, though. We
Yep.
never said final EP, just in
Yeah,
the series
yeah.
because,
Yep.
you know, we're
Well.
looking to keep it moving. But at the same time, you know, here we are and we haven't done anything new yet, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. It's just, you know, welcome to life. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of that is my fault. Vaughn has sent me a couple of tracks to work on.
I only think one or two though. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we're at that point where we haven't like fully dug into anything new, but you know, there is one beat that I had sent over that I really like that I'm hoping we can do something with.
We'll make it happen. I tend to have to focus on a single thing. And because I've been focusing on getting better at mixing thing and working on some of the lightweight stuff, I was like, all right, I'm just going to focus on that until the end of the year, which is now past. So now we can get to work on some new stuff.
That's awesome to hear. That's great. That's a great way to start the year
It
with that
is.
news.
Talk about ending on a hopeful note, you know, just like the last EP did. This conversation's ending on a very hopeful note, and
Yep.
I'm very excited to hear what you guys will be bringing forth to us in the future.
I just realized we didn't talk about something.
Oh,
Should we talk about it?
What was that?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
No, we didn't. We didn't even get to it. So
Oh.
coming soon, like sometime this year, will be a physical release for the Cosmos Trilogy of all of it together.
Oh, no way.
oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Breaking
And we-
news!
Yeah, we hope to be doing a vinyl for it.
Oh boy,
That's very cool.
So
Is it going to have, what's the artwork going to be?
I don't know. We're trying to decide, like, if we do like a artwork of the three, like, you know, like arrangement of the three, or I don't know. Don't know. Like, it took a long time to get the written authorization from Lakeshore to be able to use the songs from the first EP. Because since we signed a record deal for that, there was like a whole licensing thing we had to do to use our own music. That took a while because they got bought right before our stuff came out, and like the legal team changed. It took forever to get contracts approved and stuff, but we did.
That
So
is
we
good.
can use our own music.
Now I just have to deal with vinyl pressing and how long that takes.
Yeah,
I know.
which at
Yeah.
first glance, when I was looking, it's 6 months for production, which is brutal and ridiculously expensive. So part of what we were talking was yesterday, we were trying to decide, like, what do we do artwork wise? Because like going to a gatefold as opposed to like a standard sleeve is over double the
Oh,
cost.
wow. Really?
Oh
Like
my
the-
gosh!
The majority of what you pay for in like a large gatefold print isn't the vinyl, it's the paper and the printing. Like, it's ridiculous. 'Cause
Wow, I
it's-
had no idea.
each panel's 12 inches and it's all one thing folded together. So think of how large you're printing on whatever card stock you pay for. And
Yeah, logistically, it's just more difficult to manage that.
yeah, it's super difficult, but we'll figure it out.
Is it going to fit onto 2 records?
We need to. I did the math, and 66 minutes is what the 15 songs come in at.
You have to look at the CD, the actual manufactured CDs. There's like neon pink, neon blue, and white. You have to do colored vinyl, and you have to pick from those colors. Have a hot pink vinyl and a white vinyl or something.
That could be cool.
I don't know.
You've got to do
Like-
pink for sure.
Pink?
One of
Big
them.
pink vinyl?
One of them has to be pink.
And you can't play favorites with the artwork. Like, you can't just use the artwork for the third one as the album cover, because then the other two
No.
are getting short shrift. This is
Yeah, no, for sure. I know. It's
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
This is crazy.
Oh.
Maybe the artist who did these could do
one more.
one version
Yep.
that incorporates an element of each of the three into one image.
Beth Johnson, that's her name. She's awesome.
Aren't there
I was
like just like
wow.
11 plants that can make records right now in the whole world? I thought I read something that said that there used to be 12 places that could actually manufacture vinyl records, and one of them burned down.
Oh.
No, there were 2 places that could do the metal pressings, and one of them burned down, which is what the bottleneck was. Because
Okay.
when you're pressing vinyl, like you get metal plates pressed first, and that's what does the actual imprinting.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, hold on. These are the ones from Dearly Departed.
Oh.
Oh.
So look.
Oh, no way.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the actual. If we ever pressed more, this is
I
what
have
they pressed
never
them with.
seen that before. That's
Wow,
so cool.
I've never seen that either.
So yeah. Oh,
That's wild.
You should totally use that sound as a sample for something.
Like repurpose it.
Yes.
Sound design.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're making a sound from the record that the sound is on, or I don't know. Just
Bang a gong. Get it on.
yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
I'm
news.
so excited to hear you guys want to put out more physical music. We're still big fans of that here in this house. And as he said when we started, he didn't even feel like we had the album until we had the physical copy because we're just so old fashioned.
Well, people were asking for vinyl, but like it's hard to do for an EP. Like from a cost standpoint,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Because it's so expensive to manufacture.
Yeah.
And then to have to do it for every 5 songs we release would be cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think one big collection, and also just being able to get all the artwork and the lyrics and everything in one place will feel nice.
Oh, yeah.
So, guys, you've definitely been a major part of the soundtrack of our lives for the past couple years. I still remember the night I was in 2020. I don't even know how I ended up on the website. It was
Oh, Valingo, yes.
And I was on that website, and they were talking about a new track by a new duo with Cause and Effect vocalist Rob Rowe. That night, if you said to me, like, you'd be talking to both these guys a couple times, and they're going to have 3 albums of all new material that you can enjoy, I would have been over the moon, and I wouldn't have believed it to a certain extent. But through the past couple of years, you guys, your music has gotten us through some rough times, and definitely appreciate you hanging out with us here on the podcast so many times, talking about music and creative process. It's been an absolute joy. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, this is fun.
Like we said earlier in the beginning of the podcast, if you've heard little samples of the songs through the course of this episode, you're going to want to hear the whole thing, and you can get to the link for Bandcamp by going to www.vhxrr.com. That will take you where you need to be to get this great music and add it to your own collection. They need to hurry if they want the physical disc, though, right?
3 left.
Oh,
That's
my
what I thought.
gosh.
We have an autographed one here on the table next to me. We're going to give that away with one of those fancy shirts that Vaughn is wearing. You guys can't see it because you're only listening to a podcast, but we'll have the signed CD and t-shirt that you can win. The details will be at the end of the episode here. Thanks again to you guys for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So here I kneel before you, a broken man, a broken lance. I need to heal inside you, inside the light that never ends. Out of the fray, adrift on a dark and waveless sea. Show me the way.
So there you have it, the final installment in our trilogy of interviews with VHXRR.
That's right. Yeah. That was really, really fun. I am so thankful that we got to talk to them again. It's always a treat, and it's always great to catch up with them on the music they're making. So I'm very excited about the future now.
I'm excited about the future too, because I sort of had a feeling that this was going to be it.
Yeah.
I know the post said the end of the trilogy, but I was like, well, they're still using the word ending.
I know.
Which didn't make me happy, but it's going to be cool to see like what they come up with when there's no theme, just like a collection of songs.
Yeah.
About what?
Or maybe it'll be a new theme. Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to White Weights.
Right.
Really
yeah.
cool to hear that there's some new White Weights stuff coming at some point in the future.
Right. Yeah.
Rob wouldn't commit to this year.
Yeah.
So,
but we know that there's no end to that either. Like the end of White Weights is not upon us at this point.
yeah. So that was awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And even like in sections of the interview, like when we were talking to Vaughn about the speakers, it was kind of interesting to learn like the scientific wavelength patterns and
I know.
why you can hear the bass outside a club and things like that.
I never really thought about that before, but it certainly makes sense once he explained it.
Yeah. So as always, it was a ton of fun to talk with those guys. So thanks again to them for joining us. And don't forget that we are also doing that giveaway that we mentioned in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so if you take this episode that you're listening to right now and you share it on social media, you can, your choice, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but tag us in it so that we can see that you've done it. Then you're entered for a chance to win an autographed CD by these fine folks at VHXRR.
The new EP on the Shoulders of Giants, and we're also going to throw in one of our very in-demand, brand new Permanent Record Podcast t-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to get yourself one of those if you can, because they are hot.
They are hot. They are just rolling out of here.
Really?
Quicker than we can buy them.
Yeah, for sure.
But we did save some for this giveaway, so we have sizes between medium and double XL.
That's right, yeah.
So as long as you're in that range, you're good to go.
I hope so, yeah.
And thanks in advance for helping us get the word out about the music of VHXRR and the podcast episode. We appreciate that. So before we get going, we were just going to reflect on episode 150, which really I don't have too much to say. I'm surprised that we lasted this long.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk about real fast some music Santa Claus left for us.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Any thoughts from you on episode 150?
Well, like you, I'm surprised, but very pleased to have made it to this point. It has really been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed learning about the bands and the albums that we love. And most of all, I've really enjoyed getting to know people all over the world through this podcast. We've been chatting with folks in many different countries over the past 6 years, and it's just so cool.
It's very, very cool. And in fact, we've had another nice email come in from a new listener who is in the UK.
Oh, excellent.
And just haven't gotten to reply to it yet because I've just been focused on editing this episode.
Yeah.
It's all I've been doing for the past couple of days because I want to get it out. But I will reply today.
Very good.
So that was nice to hear from. We love getting emails.
We do.
Twitter messages, Facebook messages. They're all emails, basically.
Yeah, you called everything an email.
I do. We love hearing from folks about this music, and that's one of the great benefits of doing this podcast.
Indeed it is.
So we already said in our last episode before the holidays what our plan is for this year.
Oh, yeah.
Some things that we're going to cover. So we will not talk about that now. We've already done that.
Yeah.
But we'll be back in a few weeks with the first traditional episode of us covering some sort of album.
Yes.
For 2023, and who knows what it'll be. There's a lot of records celebrating 40th anniversaries this year.
When we started this, some of these things were on the 35th anniversary list, and now they're on the 40th anniversary list. So it's like, oh my gosh, yes, time keeps passing. But there are lots of great things out there still to talk about, and I am looking forward to choosing some of them and discussing them with you over the next few months.
Yep, it will be great fun. I just said that I'm not going to mention what I talked about on that episode, but I did say Black Celebration. But then, as we were going down that list, I was like, oh, it's the 40th anniversary of Construction Time again.
I know.
But I sort of committed us to Black Celebration.
Well, you committed us to Hot Space before, too, and we ended up talking about The Miracle.
Hot Space, let's go. Love me some Hot Space. So, all right, who knows what the future holds? Let's talk about the things that just appeared under our Christmas tree this year, Sarah.
Right.
I don't know why I'm doing this, but...
Oh, it's just kind of fun.
It is fun to talk about new music.
Yeah, a little recap of the holiday season for us. And Santa Claus was quite good to both of us, I would say.
He was. And even before Christmas, we received a gift from Mr. Brad Page.
Yes.
The host of the I'm in Love with That Song podcast.
Indeed.
We spent a great day one weekend in November, I think.
Yes, it was in November. Mm-hmm.
With Brad and John Lamoureux of The Hustle. They both came to our Commonwealth for a show, and we spent the day with them Saturday. Did some record shopping, went out and got some pizza, and had a lot of fun with them. And Brad was so kind that when he got home, he sent us a little care package of records.
I know. That was a big surprise, and a really, really thoughtful, too.
The one thing that really impressed me was, as a kid, I was really, really into Sean Cassidy.
Yes.
And
me too.
I had all the girls and me were into Sean Cassidy. But I never had the final Sean Cassidy album because by that point, I guess I I was out of him and he wasn't quite as popular.
Right.
This last album called Wasp, and he sent me the Record Store Day edition of it. It's
Yeah.
like a limited edition, 180 gram. I think it's on yellow vinyl. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. My Sean Cassidy collection, after all these years, is now complete.
That's great.
And then Brad's favorite musician is the great Todd Rundgren, who I've heard of course. I've seen that name over the years, but I don't really know much about his music. But Brad picked out 3 albums that he thought we would like the most. Little handwritten note with each one explaining why he chose this one for us. So we got 3 Todd Rundgren albums for our collection from him: Healing, Nearly Human, and Hermit of Mink Hollow, which is the one with that really big hit on it.
Hello,
Can
It's
We
Me?
Still Be Friends?
Oh, Can We Still Be Friends? Okay.
We've been enjoying these records. I've been playing them as I work. Since we're still working from home most of the time, I get to play music during the day, and especially Nearly Human is a really good record from 1989. I've really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was really, really sweet of him, and especially those handwritten notes for each record explaining, why he thought we would like them and some of the background and history of the records themselves. So a man after our own hearts providing that kind of information to us. So thanks again, Brad. We really, really appreciate it.
And thanks to our friend the Fragile Gods,
Yes.
the world's greatest bingo player.
Apparently, yeah. Right. Yeah, he kept winning. He won last year. He won both games. And then this year he won in 2022, he won at least one of them. And I think he was feeling a little guilty. And not that it was rigged or anything, but he decided to kind of return the favor. But he sent us a couple of CDs in the mail, and that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, that was a great treat. So we got a greatest hits collection from Japan.
Yes. The
Not
band.
not the country.
Right, the band, not the country.
Yep. So, and Japan has traditionally been like a weak spot in our 80s knowledge. Like
Indeed.
Early on, we had a number of people write to us like, are you going to cover Japan? And we're like,
No.
we really don't know anything about it. We don't have anything about Japan. So that was great to hear the greatest hits, and I'm really enjoying it. It's this weird mix of like Duran Duran, Roxy Music, and something else.
Yeah.
Can't figure out what. But I've been enjoying that collection a lot.
Yeah.
And then he sent a copy of the album Lost Girls by Bat for Lashes,
Right.
which is a band we saw, I guess, like 10 years ago or so, opened for Depeche Mode on the Delta Machine tour.
Yes.
So we had whatever album was out at that time by them. It had a picture of the singer. She was holding like somebody on her shoulders.
Okay.
I forget what the album was called. We had that one and it was good, but Lost Girls is actually even better. Very 80s influenced.
Yeah.
Very catchy tunes.
Right
So,
up our alley.
yeah, so thanks to Fragile Gods. Fragile Gods celebrated the start of the new year by releasing some new music. Second day of the year, they released their latest single, When the Nighttime Comes. So that's one you can check out on SoundCloud.
Okay, go over to SoundCloud. Definitely.
Yep, because we love the Fragile Gods. And then Santa brought us some things. So, Sarah, I'm going to say a couple things that I got. You can say a couple things that you got, and then we'll let people go.
All right.
So, of course, one thing I got was that reissue of Erasure's self-titled album.
Yes.
An album which I have a very troubled history with because while it contains what I think is probably Erasure's greatest song, Fingers and Thumbs,
Yes.
I don't like that album.
Right.
I only ever play Song 4 and Song 5, Rock Me Gently and Fingers and Thumbs. Songs are too long. Songs are too weird. But you know what? I played the CD the other day, and it's way better than I remembered it being.
Oh, that's excellent to hear.
Yeah, so it's probably not my least favorite Erasure album anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I hope that within the next couple weeks, I'll get much more familiar with it, and I'll be able to sing along with these songs because it seemed pretty enjoyable.
I totally agree with you on Fingers and Thumbs. You know how much I love that song.
Great tune.
It is.
I also picked up, or I didn't pick up, my parents gave me the Beatles Revolver box set,
Yes.
which I've been getting those Beatles sets as they come out each year. This one's kind of disappointing because it's the first one that doesn't have a Blu-ray in it
Yeah.
with the Dolby Atmos mix. Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. They produced one.
Right.
You can stream it on Apple Music, but they didn't spend the 4 cents or whatever it cost to manufacture a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
They didn't put it in the box, so that's ridiculous.
It is. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Revolver is like my second favorite Beatles album, so I
Yeah.
was looking forward to that.
But there is still a lot of other good stuff there in that package. So.
Oh, yeah, it's a great box, but
Yeah.
it's great for what it is, but I'm penalizing it for what it's not.
Right.
Did you get anything good?
I got a couple of good things. I got some reissues, which was really, really cool. One of them is the 25th anniversary of Kylie Minogue's Impossible Princess album.
Oh, yeah, we got that on vinyl.
Yes. Yeah, we didn't have any copy of it at all. like the first time that we'd ever really heard it. But I am really, really digging that. And it's way up there on my rankings of Kylie albums.
Me too. I think I put it at number 3.
Okay.
Although my Kylie history, other than the greatest hits, starts with Fever. Like
Right.
this is the first time I've heard an album that's before Fever. But it's really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I read that it had like a very bad reception when it came out. People didn't really like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what I saw, but I'm digging it.
It sounds good to my ears in this day and age. So I'm really happy to have that in our collection now. And I got another 25th anniversary release, which I'm very excited about. Life Through a Lens.
Mr. Robbie Williams.
Yes, his first solo album. I love all those songs, and I'm looking forward to getting more into the extra CDs that came with it, with all the bonus mixes and the demos and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's like 4 CDs. It's
Yeah.
got everything. B-sides, demos, live
Yeah.
tracks. It's a really nice package.
It really is.
Hopefully they'll do one for each of his records.
Yeah, I hope so.
At least those, key early ones.
Right. Yeah, that's a great one to have a big full collection of. So thank you, Santa Brian.
Sure thing. And then Santa Sarah brought me the David Bowie Hunky Dory box set.
Yes.
Which I've really been enjoying listening to during the week. That's a pretty fantastic set, based on one of my very favorite Bowie albums.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go wrong with that.
Indeed.
And you also got me that Tina Turner Break Every Rule set.
Yeah.
I've kind of been getting into Tina Turner the past year or so, ever since HBO ran that documentary on her.
Yeah, which was really good.
Yeah, so I wish there was like a set like that for Private Dancer, because Private Dancer is like the best.
Well, yeah.
So since I've gotten into her, they've brought out 2 of these deluxe sets. So maybe next year they'll do Private Dancer. Hard to say. And you also got me like a set of 5 Italian jukebox singles.
Yes.
Which are great.
They are really something else, aren't they?
They're like, I was really shocked because when you open them, there are 45 records for the jukebox.
Yep.
But because they're for the jukebox, they have different artists on either side. It's like hits on both sides. So let's see. You got me Depeche Mode. It's called A Heart.
Yes.
A great song that premiered on Catching Up with Depeche Mode. I think Depeche Mode hates it, but I think it's a great song. And that's backed with...
That is backed with Propaganda, T-Machinery.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's quite a team right
Yeah.
there. Those 2 work well together. Let's see. You got me Aha, The Blood That Moves the Body.
Yes.
A song off of Stay on These Roads.
Right. And we did talk about that a few
We did.
years back.
And that is backed with...
Oh, let me think. Was that Falco, The Sound of Music?
Nope, that was
Oh.
backed with Rod Stewart's Lost in You,
That's
which is like
right.
the time period where I was most into Rod Stewart. I grew
Yeah.
up listening to Rod Stewart because my mom liked him.
Yeah.
So she had like his greatest hits, which had like him in this pink satiny shirt on the
Yeah.
cover. But around that time, that album, Out of Order, I got into it myself because like Lost in You, Forever Young, Crazy About Her, all these songs that I loved. And his lead guitarist at that point in time was Andy Taylor.
Oh.
So it was
From
kind of...
Duran Duran. Oh, that's crazy.
So it was like a cool pairing.
Sure.
So I actually saw him on that tour.
Wow.
Rod Stewart. Yeah, so some people might not like that song, but I'm happy to have it
I
paired
thought
with,
you would be.
paired with Aha. So here we have A Flock of Seagulls, The More You Live, The More You Love.
Yes.
And that is backed with...
Depeche Mode, Master and Servant.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's
Which
a
you
good
already
pair.
have, but not backed with Flock of Seagulls.
That's
so.
right. All right. Then let's see. We have Alison Moyet, Love Resurrection.
Oh, yeah.
Off of her debut solo album, which is a great song.
Yes.
And that's backed with...
Krista Berg.
Krista
High on
Berg.
Emotion.
High on Emotion. Don't tell our friend Simon,
Yeah.
because he's quite anti-Krista Berg. But
A lot of people are, I think.
it seems like they are. Like High on Emotion, I think is a great song because it's
Yeah.
kind of rocking.
It is, yeah.
So it's not like what you think of. If you think of Krista
It's
Berg, Lady
not-
in Red, and
right.
Missing You and stuff, it doesn't sound like that.
It's not like a torch song. It's
No. Don't shame me, people. Don't try to shame me because I like Krista Berg.
you like what you like.
And then this one, well, you already said one of the sides. Falco, The Sound of Music.
Yes, I was very excited about that.
Great Falco single. Can you remember what the B-side is?
Oh, man. It was something good.
It's someone who has a new album coming out in like 2 months. Their first album in 10.
Oh, yeah, Everything But the Girl. It's Come On Home.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sarah Santa got me those 5 singles for the jukebox, so that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to put those in the jukebox pretty soon here.
That's probably all we have to mention. I don't think I really need to go into details on why I bought Kiss music from the Elder.
No. Although now that you've said that, now people are going to be like, what is wrong with you? Could I mention the 2 CDs you got me, though, by Nouvelle Vague?
Yeah.
I thought those were really, really cool gifts because They basically take 80s songs and new wave hits that we know, and they do them in a totally different style, kind of like almost like a jazzy lounge singer, bossa nova kind of style. It's really groovy. We first heard this group when we were up in Worcester, Massachusetts, in a record store, comic store, game store. It was all one big store with all this great stuff in it. And I kept hearing these songs and I'm like, hey, I know this song, but it's a different version. And then it became a game to like figure out how quickly I could recognize the song but based on, this new interpretation. So you did some detective work, I guess, and some shopping, and you found 2 of their CDs, and they ended up under the Christmas tree, and I'm very excited about those. So thank you.
Sure thing. Glad you liked them. I guess that's pretty much. I mean, we got a few other things, but
yeah,
nothing that the new wave fans that are listening to this are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I think I've already alienated myself mentioning that I bought that Kiss album.
I know.
I don't even like Kiss.
I know.
I've never owned anything by Kiss in my whole life.
Yeah.
But I did buy this one Kiss album.
Yeah, you did. No, you haven't played it yet, so.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's because I've fallen in with a bad crowd.
I know.
Hanging out with other podcasters, getting a chance to like meet people in real life has really been a bad influence on me.
Right.
So, all right, so that's it for our 150th episode. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Even if this is your first episode you ever listened to, I don't know if that would be true, but hey, we're happy to have you along, and looking forward to bringing you more great conversations, discussions, probably some, more interviews, all kinds of good stuff in the future.
Sounds good. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Defined by hidden light, you're my obsession. Don't wanna let you go until we both drown in silhouetted glow, in beauty that we found. I can't believe my eyes.
I feel like I don't think about music as much as you guys do, even though I make it. So it's like it's always cool to get those like other perspectives, you know. And,
You're saying I don't think about music as I can see 4 keyboards over to your right. There's 4 different synths right there. There's something over to the other side of you, and a guitar. I see a guitar case, but you don't think about music.
No.
He just lives it.
I probably would go for the trunk organizer, even though I don't keep a bunch of stuff in my trunk.
I don't either.
Well, maybe you don't because you don't have a way to organize it.
Maybe if I had an organizer, I would like,
Yeah.
keep stuff back there.
You have to become like a Little League coach, and then you'll have a ton of stuff to keep in your trunk. That should be your New Year's resolution, become a
Ew.
Little League coach.
I'm so good with kids.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with that director's cut. But we were talking about Lord of the Rings, and those director's cuts, like the longer versions of the Peter Jackson ones, I felt got better
Yes,
with the additional footage.
agreed. And somehow The Hobbit, which I thought was too long in the theaters, like it never should have been 3 movies, but somehow I thought The Hobbit was made better by the director's cut too. They took a movie that I thought was too long, they made it longer, and I liked it better. I don't
That
know.
seems very counterintuitive.
But that's good storytelling, right?
Right.
Like if you need the story to make it better, then you need the story.
I guess so. Yep. Never thought
But
about it
yeah.
because I don't like to think about those movies, those Hobbit ones.
You don't like to think about them?
I
Because
don't.
it bothers him very much.
Did they scar you?
Oh, maybe.
Well, no, I was too old for them to have scarred me, but it's just so ridiculous that they gave the Lord of the Rings 3 movies and then they gave the Hobbit the same amount of movies. I mean, think about just hold the books up to each other and
Right. Yeah.
the size differences. It will tell you don't need 3 movies for the Hobbit.
Yeah, I think Peter Jackson had kind of like earned his indulgence at that point.
But he wanted to do 2.
Oh,
New Line
so
Cinema.
they pushed him for 3? Oh,
New Line Cinema forced him to do 3.
I'm out then. I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
Bad.
Rob is like, I did not wake up early to talk about Peter Jackson.
Welcome to Tolkien Chat with
Yeah, right.
Brian, Sarah, and Vaughn.
Yeah.
Enjoy dinner in KOP.
Yeah.
Thanks. We're going to an escape room too. So if you never
Don't.
see us
Hope you
again
make it
ever,
out.
it's because we didn't escape.
Like they didn't edit the episode in time. They just
Yeah.
vanished.
Yep.
Yep,
Never
should
to be
return.
heard from.
Yep.